Right, ladies and gentlemen, this video is quite a simple one. Many of you should already know this if you've been studying present perfect, etc. It's about for and since and what's different. But here I'm going to give you a little bit more information than most people usually tell you. So let's get started. Well, when we use the present perfect, we often like to use for, which is a time period. For example, I have worked here for many years, or I have worked here for 5 years. So it's like a sort of big duration. It's like start, finish. It's about this thing we're talking about. That's for. It's as simple as that. So we often have lots of numbers with it. For many years, for 5 years, for 5 seconds, for 10 days, etc. But here's an interesting thing. I hear a lot of mistakes among many students. They often say, for example, I have worked here for all my life. Now, is that correct or wrong? Actually, it's wrong. We don't actually have for plus all my life. We just use this. So for example, I have worked here all my life. But here's a little tip. Soon I'll be making a video on present perfect continuous. To be honest, if we have all, we tend to prefer present perfect continuous unless the verb is stative. So more common would be I have been working here all my life. Unless it's a stative verb like know, I have known him all my life. Okay, so remember that, don't make that mistake. Now since, as you can see, there's a lot more information to talk about. Now since is like from a particular time, date or past event. It's like we have this time frame here. For is talking about this duration, but since we're talking about the starting point, since this moment. So that's the main difference. As you can see here, I have worked here since 2001. The starting point is 2001. I have worked here since Tuesday. That's the starting point. I have worked here since maybe I was born, since last Saturday. It's the starting point. Or being born is definitely a starting point. But there's some interesting information I want to explain with this. Now, I'm talking about past events. Now, this is important to understand. Verbs after since usually are in the past simple. So for example, keeping my example the same, I have worked here since I left school, since I was born. It's not correct to say I have worked here since I have left school. That would be wrong. So you start off with the present perfect or present perfect continuous, since. So if you don't have a sort of time phrase and you want to have a phrase with a verb, it must be past simple, and that's very important to remember. Now here's another interesting point with since. We can actually have an interesting sort of time phrase with since. So you can actually have a present simple or maybe a present perfect plus your time expression plus since. Let's have a look. It is 2 years since we met. It's been 2 years since we met. So here we've got the present simple and here we've got the present perfect. It has been. Now both of them are correct. However, I think the difference is mainly, what you're used to. For me as an Englishman, I would prefer the present perfect. It's been 2 years since we met. But you will hear, oh, it's been 2 years since we met. And again, I don't know who says that, maybe in America, maybe some parts of England. But generally, we do like the present perfect in British English. So again, it's very, very simple stuff, and that's basically it. But especially pay attention to this part here about your verb being in the past simple. The rest of this is actually very, very easy. But make sure you get it right, okay? Now, the next video I'm going to do is present perfect after conjunctions, and this is interesting. So guys, please like and please subscribe, and I will see you in a minute.